Hello again there, YouTube fans. This is the Real Creepy Doll Man here. I'm back with an all new episode, but this is not a normal episode. This is going to be a double episode. So that means the Real Creepy Doll Man worked twice as hard for all YouTube fans and all you diehard Real Creepy Doll Man fans from around the world. It is July the 27th of 2021. Time is now, let's see, 10:46 p.m. Okay, the Real Creepy Doll Man wanted to come back. I decided to bring the doll back one more time on the Annabelle doll. Now, I said this earlier at the anniversary. I made a decision to make a vow. The Real Creepy Doll Man will decide to do this for all the fans. If I cannot find the original footage where I have done it many years ago, where both me and the Real Creepy Ghost Hunter Jr. made a lot of errors back in the day when we were doing Communicating with Our Spirit Friends Part 1 and Part 2. I believe it was on Part 2 of Part 2, meaning Communicating with Our Spirit Friends Part 2 of Part 2, meaning we did communicate with a spirit naming herself Annabelle. Later down the road, we did do another interview with the spirit. I don't know when this was. It probably was done before her first anniversary. I did release another video, but I believe that video to be 100% of that footage to be 100% lost. So something must have happened to the video, or I must have accidentally deleted it. But I made a decision. Real Creepy Doll Man makes his vow to all the real and only the real diehard Real Creepy Doll Man fans out there that I decided I'm going to bring back this doll one more time. And in doing so, we will do Communicating with Our Spirit Friends, Part 14 of Part 2, the second half that was never completed and never finished. And we're going to bring back the Annabelle doll one last time for all the fans. I'm going to say this as I go along. You know, there's a lot of people here on YouTube that's mocking the doll as we speak today. You see a lot of people mocking the doll itself. That they're saying, and I guess, and I quote, they're making like this doll doesn't exist. But you see a lot of people mocking the doll. Now, the Real Creepy Doll Man doesn't mock the doll, but he had, been into thinking about the doll back then. I never seen the movies of The Conjuring. I never saw The Conjuring. I heard they had an Annabelle movie came out. The only thing I saw was actually the trailers from that movie. Never saw the complete movie until a couple years later. I think this is about in late 2018 or early in 2019. I asked a friend, a co-worker friend that I knew. I knew her husband because I didn't know, in fact, that we went to the same school back in the day, but it was confirmed he went to the same school that I went to at elementary. Him and his wife. I knew his wife for many years back in Benjamin Franklin School here in Louisville, Kentucky. And I know his name, and he was nice to let me borrow the movie to see the Annabelle movie. Now, there are 3 movies based upon the Annabelle doll now. But I can tell you, in fact, I did research on the real Annabelle doll, and it was very disturbing and very creepy. It is more disturbing than the actual movie. But I'm going to say this, and not to disrespect Tony Spade, claiming that there's only one true Annabelle. If that's in fact the truth, then who the hell have we been communicating with? I'm communicating with our spirit friends. Part 2 of Part 2. And also, I did another one before that, before the first anniversary of Annabelle, or maybe did it on her second anniversary. I decided to go back. We interviewed her again. It was off record a second time, but I think that footage is 100% lost. So I'm going to do this to all the fans. I'm going to have to get together with the Real Creepy Ghost Hunter Jr. And I'm vowing to bring him back one last time in this episode of Communicating with Our Spirit Friends, part 14 of the final part to part 2. And we're going to communicate to whatever spirit we will communicate. So, this spirit, claiming to be a female spirit, also gave us an age of 666 years old. That's in fact the number of the true beast, meaning the true devil himself, the only one devil that is the main devil himself, could this actually be Satan himself disguising himself as a demonic spirit. You be the judge. The real creepy doll man has made the vow to bring the doll back, and I'm going to have to ask nicely if the real creepy ghost hunter Jr. will return in this episode to complete the final completion, to complete the final completion, to communicate with our spirit friends, part 14 of part 2, and let the diehard fans get to see that episode. We will do a 12-minute episode to communicate with this spirit only. No other spirit. To know, in fact, if this spirit is really a female demonic spirit, or could this be the devil himself? You be the judge. But the real creepy doll man has vowed to bring that episode back for the diehard fans only. And in doing so, bring it back for the fans only, I will keep my promise. Let's go back to issue. We will go back to do communicating with our spirit friends if I can confirm if the real creepy ghost hunter Jr. will join me or not. We must continue that episode to know for sure. If his friend can, communicate with him, I think we may have it and have a clearer sensation to understand. If he can get to him, maybe then he will join us back in this episode. And maybe his friend could be a part of the episode by listening in on this ordeal when we do communicate with our spirit friends. Well, let's go back to issue. That, the Bible speaks that the devil is real. And there are people out there that will lie to you and say there is no devil. But I can tell you this, all Satanists will lie. Meaning all devil worshippers will lie and say there is no Satan. But I can tell you this, we are at the end of times now. Whatever happens will happen. But if this planet be destroyed by an asteroid or not, or even worse, by a solar flare, it will happen. But let's go back to the issue. This doll was actually found at Tickle Pink on Teller Boulevard here in Louisville, Kentucky. I went to the actual store to buy this. I bought this the day after my birthday. I received some money the day before that, which was on August the 24th of 2016. My cousin took me on a Thursday, early that afternoon, about 2, maybe 3 o'clock. We got in there before he decided to close the doors. And I think he was going to close at 4. We got there probably about 3 o'clock. And he had to close in about less than an hour. I decided to go around and look around in the store. I got to talk to the owner. His name is Tony. He owns not one store but 2. The big store is actually converted. It was a house that was converted into a store. And there's a small building across the street that he owns as well, right beside that. And it's actually his partner runs that little store. His name is Randy. I met Randy and Tony. Tony owns the main store that everybody goes into. Now there's a lot of collectibles in there. This is sort of a I get tongue-tied on it. It's sort of a place where they sell all kinds of stuff. It's more like an antique market it's more like an antique mall, I would consider it. Or like what a peddler mall would be. But this place has everything. Anything from the old days up to now. So meaning if he's got anything from the early 30s all the way up to maybe 2000 and probably 15, he probably would have it, judging who brings it in and where he buys it from. But I noticed when I got this doll, there were no clothes on this doll, and I found a weird looking symbol a weird looking symbol on the doll. And I noticed this when I had this doll. Now let me show you the symbol. Now, if you look at it carefully, it looks like a 6 in this direction. If you look this way, it looks like a flower. But if you look at it this way, it looks like an eye upside down. And if you look like this way, you can actually see that there is sort of what an underlying thing would be for where the eye would be. And it looks like an eye, and that looks like a little line underneath the eye. That means standing for something. So could this be a satanic symbol, meaning a devil worshipping symbol? Meaning, could this actually been owned by a devil worshipper? We don't know. And the person who took me there was actually my cousin, and I thank him for taking me there. If I didn't go there, I wouldn't got this doll to this day. And it took some time to get the doll, and the doll's in what we say in not really good shape, but it's survival these years. Is this in fact a nickel blocker doll? Well, it's hard to say. You be the judge about that, but I can tell you it's pretty old. And you can tell the color of the shoes are a little bit faded. It's got to be older than 1980. So this is probably early 70s. So it didn't have a tag on the body when I found it. So when I bought the doll, yeah, it was in worse condition. I had to get clothes off another Raggedy Ann to put on this one. And this is the outfit I decided to choose for it. Now I say keep watching more to come from the Real Creepy Doll Man, because there will be more new episodes. What will they be? Watch and find out. This is the Real Creepy Doll Man saying to all the fans out there, goodbye, and God bless you all.